It was a dull morning, a little cooler than it had been, but the forecast was good. There was a fine big lay-by above Loch Torridon. It gives an excellent panorama of the breathtaking Torridon peaks towering above the north bank. These hills are the oldest in Europe. The high level road then drops to sea level at Anat, a lovely little hamlet at the head of the loch. I have been in this road a few times before as I headed for Ullapool, further north, but I've never spent any time here. The scenery around Loch Torridon is absolutely magnificent, an area of outstanding natural beauty. I'd been planning this trip for quite a while now, and I was getting really excited at discovering an area that I consider to be the finest on this glorious west coast of Scotland. Looking to the north is the village of Torridon, and hanging over it is the vast wall of rock that is Diabaig. I headed up Glen Torridon to the Benee National Nature Reserve. After about 7 miles, a wee road leads to a beautiful little loch to the south, Loch Carron. I parked the car and headed off. Across the loch, the massive bulk of the mighty Diabaig sits like some prehistoric monster on the other side of the Glen. This was a beautiful walk. The scree-covered mountain in the background is the impressive Benee. On the other side of the loch was a small boathouse. At the head of the loch a small bridge is reached, but I didn't cross it. I carried on up the mixed woodland path as it skirted the stretch of water joining Loch Carron with Loch Carron. I followed the path so far, then decided to head back. All the time the wonderful bulk of Benee formed a wonderful backdrop. Back in the main road, I took one last look at Sgurdu, sitting above the loch to the west, and then over to Diabaig on the other side of the Glen, as I headed back into Torridon. The countryside centre sits at the entrance to the village. To the south of the loch stands the majestic mountains of the Bendaff Forest. A couple of miles further on, the high-level road drops down to the beautifully situated little village of Inveralligin. This attractive little village sits under the most westerly of the Torridon peaks, Benalligin. Illicit whisky distilling was carried out here in the past, and there's a cave nearby called the Smuggler's Cave. A few miles to the east of the village is the wonderful backdrop of Diabaig. The trip along this single-track road to Diabaig is a wonderful and unforgettable experience. This part of the road is an exceptional adventure. Unlike the Bealach at Applecross, it states that it's unsuitable for caravans. You wonder what you're about to find at the crest of the hill, and it just turns out to be another hill. Sensational drive. There's a viewpoint at about 850 feet, and it offers some of the most stunning views of the glorious West Highland peaks. This is the Bealach na Goa, the Pass of the Wind. The road snakes down below. Another couple of steep climbs brings us to the summit, with a view to the west this time. We stop at the edge of a precipice and gaze over at Loch Diabaig as Ard. The loch below is still about 100 metres above sea level. The pass now descends to the end of the road at Lower Diabaig, and although the road ends here, a 7-mile track leads north to Red Point. To get there by road it would take a trip of 45 miles. At the end of this wonderful 9-mile road we arrive at a village of scattered crofts with a picturesque little pier away down below. This is an idyllic spot, and it was used as a location in the Hollywood movie Loch Ness. The little pier is almost totally encircled by a steep, rugged, craggy finger of rock, almost like a breakwater. But this is extremely rocky and rugged terrain, even by Torridon standards. It's absolutely breathtaking. It's the same rocky terrain you see when you're standing at the front at Diabaig. The pier was quite busy when I arrived, as was the shorefront in general. A little string of whitewashed cottages stretch along a shingle beach. While I was there was quite a bit of coming and going. At the other side of the bay, a small boat was approaching. It was a group of locals returning from a fishing trip. The catch and the rods were unloaded at the pier. Then the boat left to be moored elsewhere in the bay. This little pier seemed to be quite busy, and a short while later a small cabin cruiser entered the bay and headed for the pier. A passenger was offloaded, and it too was moored elsewhere in this wonderful calm bay. Small boats were bobbing about in the water, moored in the safety of the natural harbour. There was a wonderful atmosphere in this delightful little corner of Torridon. The fishermen returned from mooring their boats and dragged their little rowing boat onto the shingle beach. The sheer, steep climb out of the village and then over the dramatic pass of the wind is not for the faint-hearted and added to this magical sense of adventure. At the top of the pass, on a short flat area between the two viewpoints, we find a little reedy lochen. We also came across a boy on a bike who had just cycled from Diabaig. Rather him than me. I climbed to a little crag above the road to get a better view. A visit to this rugged and dramatic Torridon area is an exciting and breathtaking experience and should not be missed. It was now time to head back.